and welcome to Apple. It's a random name I gave this channel. I'm just gonna say welcome to Apple from now on. So right now I just want to. This is gonna be just a quick thing. This isn't gonna be much of a scientific based on. This is just more gonna be like a moral kind of thing rather than like a strict scientific view on something. So I just want to say, like, I think America has a problem with politics in this current time. And I think that's kind of obvious. I think everyone's kind of realized that. But I just have this image here just to kind of show, if anybody forgot, like, the spectrum or whatever, just kind of, I think politics is too involved with our lives and how we view other people. Alright, so I don't know if this is a left opinion or a right opinion, but it's just my opinion, right? I think that, honestly, it's just, like, politics is too much involved with our lives and how we view people. I know I just said that, but, like, I think if someone hears, like, that someone's conservative, they immediately have a bias, like a stereotype of what that person is. They automatically think certain things about that person. If somebody thinks someone's a leftist, people automatically have opinions and stereotypes about that, and generally, people of opposite opinions don't usually intermingle. I mean, sometimes they do, and sometimes they can just get along just fine, greatly, but sometimes I feel like it's just like people have so much stereotypes and so much hate. Both sides do this. I know for a fact that both sides do this, and it's just kind of getting to the point where politics is starting to become, like, not as much as, like, some political opinions, economy, that kind of thing, and almost becoming, like, a social class, like a caste system, rather than, like a order class. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's becoming to the point where, like, it's not just what your opinion about certain topics are. It's, like, who you are as a person. And I think that's extremely dangerous especially in a society where, especially in America, I mean, where the entirety of America is extremely diverse. I mean, like, name another country with the amount of, like, diverse opinions, diverse, like, races, ethnicities, even, like, I mean, you know, like, that's just, like, with race, but even, like, there's different types of white people in America, too. There's just different, like, regional little, like, local folk cultures in certain areas of America that are completely different. I mean, the Native American population, all that, and an extremely diverse group like that, judging people based on their political beliefs and, like, judging people like that, it's just dangerous, because how people generally are able to, like, mass hurt people or mass kill people, like, or whatever, like, stereotype, is because they either don't think they're human or put a negative stereotype over them. And both sides, I mean, both sides can't deny this. Both sides have a very negative stereotype of the other sides, like, on the somewhat more, like, extreme versions of each side. Maybe more like the right wing or the left wing, not the moderate left or the moderate right, like, as we can see here. But, like, I've, like, very, 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 very negative beliefs about the other sides, and despite the fact, a liberal is more than a liberal. A liberal is a person. Cause a liberal isn't just a hippie from California or somebody that just, like, wants complete control and just doesn't understand. And a conservative isn't some stupid, like, wife beater from Alabama that won't research anything and just goes off, watches Fox News all day. Both of those aren't true. I mean, there are people behind these, and stereotyping it left, right, black, white, I mean, it's just, like, that's just not true, and it can be extremely dangerous for a society, because if you get such those negative stereotypes, then whichever one eventually has the more power is just going, like, whether it be right or left, is just going to enforce that stereotype to the point where the other side is, like, almost discriminated against because of the amount of hate, because everyone's just going to believe that stereotype, because the one in power is just going to perpetuate that. And it's important to try to separate, like, people in general, right, left, moderate, independent, green, it doesn't matter. Like, you need to separate your ideas about people of you need to separate your stereotypes from reality. You need to understand that people have opinions without them defining who they are. It's just, you need to separate stereotypes from politics. Because if somehow, some way, either the left or the right were to get in major power, all they're going to do is just perpetuate a stereotype, and that is just going to cloud people's judgment about that other view. And that is exactly how Nazi, Soviet, and China, that's how they take over countries, is perpetuating a stereotype to the point where the vast majority of people believe it's true. Whether you believe the left's doing that, the right's doing that, doesn't matter. You just need to separate your stereotypes from reality. Like, if you have a stereotype about some person, that's fine, because sometimes stereotypes can be like a joke, like you don't actually believe them, or they're just like preconceptions. But like, you need to separate your preconceptions from when you're actually debating with somebody, or when you're actually talking to somebody. Because understand, like, people are people. People are liberal, people are right, but they're also just people. All people are people. And some people are bad people, but you just gotta understand that stereotypes, especially with politics, are usually not true. Especially with politics. Mainly just because of the fact that there's no way that 44% of the U.S. population, talking about the stereotypes, is a bunch of stupid fascist, racist people. And there's no way that, like, 50% or whatever the percentage is for the left wing are just a bunch of stupid hippies that don't understand anything. You got to understand that those stereotypes are more often than not true, and you need to understand that, because if somehow, some way, liberal, conservative, moderate took over and they start perpetuating stereotypes, you need to be knowledgeable enough to understand when that's happening, to get the hell out, or to try to speak out against the stereotypes and try to fog up the stereotypes and make sure there's no black and white going on there. It's extremely important to that, which is why I honestly think that politics shouldn't be a part of our lives as much as it is right now, mainly just because of the fact that stereotypes are going to form. Because that's what people do. They form stereotypes based on whatever information they get. And generally, whether you like it or not, left, white, you're generally going to want to associate yourself with people of the same opinion. And when you're around people of the same opinion more often than you're around people of different opinions, then you're just going to start forming stereotypes. And I'm not saying that that's wrong to be around, but you just need to keep it in your mind that those stereotypes generally aren't true. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, I prefer to stay with people that are my own opinion, because every time someone mentions their opinion, if they're left, I disagree with it and I want to debate, and I don't want to debate. But that doesn't mean I don't have people that are left that are my friends or whatever like that. It's just, politics shouldn't be I'm saying that like how people used to say, like, oh, I have black friends, that kind of thing. It's getting to the point where that politics is so much involved with our lives that it's just destroying, like, our views of other people. It doesn't need to be like that. Politics are just people's opinions. And honestly, in a perfect world, I would rather just not talk about politics and just vote for whoever I want to vote for. I mean, it really shouldn't be this big of a deal. And again, you need to keep those stereotypes out of your mind, because when somebody takes power, it doesn't even matter if you're in U.S. politics or not. Like, if you're just in another country with politics and you have stereotypes about different politics, you just need to keep it out of your brain, because if somebody takes power, perpetuates stereotypes, or if a stereotype starts to get really huge, you either need to speak out against it, or try to get your friend group to understand the other side, or like it just doesn't need to be black and white, because it's not black and white, and it doesn't need to be so involved with our lives. And stereotypes cannot be allowed to control our views of other people, or just our views in general. Like, if you just generally just don't like people that are left-wing, or generally just don't like people that are right-wing, fine, but don't let that stereotype just make you, like, left. Like, if you're just doing that just because you don't like somebody, actually just start to reconsider your views. None of that can be allowed to perpetuate, especially stereotypes about left, right, or whatever other views there are. Those stereotypes not be allowed to perpetuate, because that's exactly how people start to oppress and discriminate other people. And even, like, politics, that's just how people oppress people and able to take control, is by perpetuating negative stereotypes. And as I said at the beginning, each side has their negative stereotypes, and each side needs to kind of push those aside, actually have a debate, a logical, factual debate with somebody, rather than just going off of stereotypes and going into a debate immediately being like, I hate this person. I'm not even gonna listen to them at all. I mean, seriously, if you're on the right, try to listen to the left a little more. See if there's anything that you can agree to. If there's not, that's fine. I mean, whatever. If you think the other side's wrong, then that's totally your right, but you just can't have a stereotype about that particular person. You can't have stereotypes about people on those sides. You can have stereotypes about the actual political beliefs, fine, but, like, just don't have stereotypes about the people, because that's exactly how people start to discriminate people, so they have stereotypes about a certain group of people, either race, politics, religion. People have stereotypes, and that's just how people start to discriminate people. But anyways, that's just my belief. All in all, just try to not have stereotypes about different political views. It's better just to not, honestly, because then you can have a clearer mind, even if it's not for the other person. If you really don't give a shit about the other person, fine. But even if it's just for yourself, you can go into that more open-minded. You can go to that more clear-minded and open-minded, but you can go to the debate more clear-minded and ready to just pull out facts and get the debate going. Have a proper debate. I mean, like, I think generally people are going to be more interested in a debate where both sides are bringing up good points, because then you can see the other side, or your belief or their belief, come up with different responses, hear new things. I mean, that's a more interesting debate than just two idiots just trying to insult each other on stage. I mean, that is not an interesting debate. I would rather, like, it would be really awesome if, like, next presidential debate or whatever, like, two really smart people came in and started bringing up facts left, right, like, all the time. That would be amazing, because that's what I want to see. I want to see my side, my beliefs put to the test. I want to see my beliefs put to the test. I want to see how facts can defend my belief. I want to see what their response is. Like, just more information. I mean, that is a good debate. And I don't see many good debates. I either see very one-sided debates, some very smart person with some person that's just trying to insult them, or just, like, two idiots just trying to insult each other. I haven't really seen a really good debate between two people really bringing up good points, either both ways. Regardless of that, that's just why I think stereotypes should be thrown out the window going into debate. Don't just immediately dismiss someone, laugh at them, say they're an idiot, or say that you don't know anything, that kind of thing. Bring up your point. Because honestly, if I see one laughing at somebody and just, like, not even responding, I see that as a sign of weakness. Because I don't think that person legitimately has a good response to the fact. So I'm just saying, get rid of your stereotypes so you're more prepared in a debate, you're more open-minded, and that you don't let stereotypes control you, your beliefs on people, your friendships, your relationships. It shouldn't be that way, but I feel like people are really judging people significantly just by their beliefs, and I believe, especially, like, the day and age that we live in, it shouldn't be happening. It just shouldn't be happening. But anyways, that's just what I believe. I think I might have made a good point, but subscribe to the channel if you want to. I do rants like this occasionally, but, you know, if you want to subscribe. If you want to like. If you want to dislike. And again, like I was saying, if you have an opposing viewpoint, whether it be on my last video or this video, if you have an opposing viewpoint, please leave it in the comments. I want to hear it. I'm totally open to opposing opinions. Don't expect me to always agree with them, but I mean, I'm totally open to hearing new ideas, new opinions, that kind of thing. I want to see other people's opinions. So, I mean, maybe I could fight them or, like, argue with them or debate them better in the future, but if I understand more about them, or I might be convinced. So, if you have an opposing viewpoint, let me know. I'm not gonna be one of those Redditors or whatever that's just gonna immediately disqualify everything and that won't even listen to other people. I'm not one of those people. I'm gonna try to listen the best I can, even if I disagree. But if you have an opposing viewpoint, please leave it in the comments. If you want to subscribe. If you want to like, if you want to dislike, feel free to dislike. I mean, I do get the dislike ratio, so I'll see it. So I'll know that somebody disagreed with my opinion. Great, cool. Do whatever you want. I don't really care. Share it, subscribe, do whatever you want. Don't hit the bell. Hit the bell. Doesn't matter. I don't really care. I'm just doing this for fun. But if you like my stuff, subscribe. If you want to see more, please feel free. And just to quickly summarize, this is post, if you couldn't tell, because of my amazing quality editing. No, but just in post, I just want to kind of summarize what I was talking about. Basically, comes down to it: judge other people by them, not their personal beliefs, politics, that kind of thing. And I know it seems like a pussy ass fucking thing that shouldn't really necessarily need to be said, but like really in your mind, think about it. Like think about if you hear that somebody's conservative or if you hear somebody's liberal, what's your immediate thought after that? What do you think about? And how do you judge that person? Just think about it. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that you do. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody does. I'm just saying that just like watch yourself. Just think about it, because they might have something very interesting to say, and they might have a very interesting reason for choosing that, and you might be convinced of their opinion. They might have really good facts, opinions. I mean, you never know. And I'm not saying that you have to believe them. Obviously, you don't. That's your opinion. I'm just saying, listen to people, whether it be left, right, doesn't matter. Just listen to people. I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I mean, like, if you're like in the mood to listen to people, like if you're just if you're in that kind of mindset, ready to listen to somebody, don't just immediately shut them down because they have an opposing opinion. And that happens a lot. I notice this happens quite a bit, and it's kind of weird because we're supposed. I mean, people say, "Oh, it's 2021, do whatever you want," but then like sometimes people do what they want, and they get criticized for it. It's just a little weird. But I just like generally just listen to people, even if you think that their opinion is evil and they're harming people by having that opinion. Just think about why you think that. Research if they're actually harming people. You might find that they're not, and you might find that they are. And if they are, then hell, like then that is true. They might be, but like if they're not, then maybe try to open a dialogue, try to discuss it, have a debate. Fact, like I was saying earlier. Regardless, this was post, so I don't know. Like, subscribe if you want. I know I already said that, but, you know, whatever. See ya.